All right, I am back live trading, day trading the Nasdaq. Good little break. Um, we're back to trading. Let me add a screen. Managed to do it just before an hour as well. So I'll just wait for viewers to come in, and we can get cracking. See if this market's opened up. I managed to take a trade on my cash account, not the Ola Prime account, but the cash account is doing beautifully well. So I'm happy about that. So I've got my cash account trade done for today. Literally just took this long here, this one here. We're in that gap, came back down, sort of sellers come in, buyers trade above. When I saw that 350, I was like, you know what, these buyers are just aggressive as hell. Jumped in for a long, managed to get it. I'd love to show my cash account, man. I'd love to be able to show it. It's just a stupid. There's no way of without showing the broker name. Yeah, it's fine. But how's everyone doing? Let's see if we can get some more trades on this Ola Prime account, though. How is everyone? Let's get rid of this. Oh, I should have held, man. This is beautiful. Yes, Rafak, I've ordered a. So the issue is with the stream, I figured it out. The camera I'm using, it's a DSLR camera, but it's plugged in via USB to the computer, right? And when it's just by USB, the maximum quality is 720p, so the stream can only go up to 720p. But I have ordered, it's called like a HDMI capture card or whatever, and that can increase the quality basically up to 4K. So that's coming today at some point. And then tomorrow I can stream in high quality. Okay, so that's almost sorted. Bear with me on that, and then it will be high quality stream from here on out. Okay. Good morning, Solo Trades. How are you? Man, I can't believe I didn't hold that. That is a beautiful move. I'm approaching a big milestone in my trading career. So I'm very cautious with my cash account right now. So I'm approaching a huge milestone on it. But I am blue on the day. You trade silver? I don't know. I don't trade silver. No, sadly. Silver's a bit crazy. I literally only trade the ES and the NQ. I mostly do the NQ for the streams because it's a bit more exciting to trade. But I very much, off the stream, I like to trade the ES as well. The ES is actually, I find, the better instrument to trade. It has more volume, easier to read on the footprint. Even you know, whether you're using the bid ask, delta, it doesn't matter. Whichever footprint you're using, the ES is just easier to read, easier to kind of gauge. The NQ is a bit more. I mean, the volume is lower, right? So you get lower numbers, smaller numbers. So it's not as easy to read. Hey man, I like your content, but I have a question about Ola Prime. Will there be ways to trade NQ futures with platforms other than DX? I really dislike the platform. It feels incredibly clunky. Yes, we are working on it. I believe we're almost there. In fact, I have to actually record for them. I have to record like a tutorial video on how to use which platform is it? Let me try to find out again. I completely forgot the name of the platform. Give me 2 seconds. They wrote it here somewhere. No, it's not there. Maybe it's in this. But yeah, we have more platforms coming for the future side. Where the hell is it? I can't find it. They're going to update me, but yeah, there will be. Don't worry, there will be some new platforms because I understand that DX. We already have Rhythmic, So Rhythmic is already available. So you can use any software, you know, like Quant Tower, like you said. I think Sierra Charts as well. Basically, all the order flow softwares are out there on Rhythmic. So yeah, that's already available. Okay, interesting stuff here. There's a lot of sell pressure coming in. I don't think it's a true. I don't think it's a true move. If this is a bit of a pullback, we can go in long. Can you show me where to find it on the website when you find the time? It doesn't have to be now. Yes, I can. Give me 2 seconds, Drive. Thomas says, hey, what's the interview? Yeah, the interview was great. Interviewed another trader of ours, man named Brian. This guy's smashing it. I mean, he's like I think he's a dentist. He was at work, you know, in his whole uniform and everything. But yeah, he's had like $16,000 worth of payouts and 6 payouts, and he literally trades a moving average. I'm like, damn, man. Like, that's like insane. And it just goes to show, I mean, it's pure risk management. It's pure, you know, discipline. I don't have that kind of level of discipline to make something like that work. But if you are that disciplined of a person, you know, any trading strategy can work for you. Back to Drive. Yes, let me quickly get that up for you. Let me walk you through it real quick. We're going to have like a party at one point. Not a party, but we're going to have to do a celebration on this stream. I am approaching a massive milestone on my cash account. I think maybe 2 months' time, I'll hit the big 1 million on my cash. And I've been dreaming of this moment for... I can't actually tell you how long. I mean, ever since I started trading, I've been dreaming of that moment. And I'm getting itching away. I think I'm like 80K away from a mil. And man, like, I don't know. I'm going to have to do something special for it, because when that hits, I'll figure out a way I can show it without showing the broker name, because that's the only issue. But give me 2 seconds while I do this futures thing. Get funded. Okay, cool. Oh, you got to do it that way. All right, 1 second. Where are all the challenges? Here it is. One step prime, compare. I got to sign up. That's very annoying. Okay, I can't do it without you know, literally logging in and signing up, etc. But when you create the order, you can select the different accounts. Rhythmic has always been available, unless we've pulled it. We would have known if we did. I'm pretty sure Rhythmic is available. Let me just find out real quick. I'm in the futures section. Oh my God. No, you're right. We must have pulled it. It just says DX Futures at the moment. I think that's a temporary issue. I'm going to talk to the team, because I have no idea why Rhythmic has disappeared. We've always offered Rhythmic, and now it's only DX Futures. I think there's something. I wasn't aware of that. So you're actually right. I should have known that, but I wasn't informed. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, there's a lot of people who want to use it, obviously, and pulling that from the platform is not, or pulling that from, you know, it's not a good thing. But there'll be a reason. There'll be some, I don't know, maybe they're just redesigning something else, you know. But I don't think it's a permanent. Otherwise, I would have known if it was a permanent kind of, you know. I used to use Ninja Trader, very comfortable with it. But when I try to buy a futures challenge, it shows DX. Yeah. No, you're not stupid. You're absolutely right. I had no idea that must have been, because I swear I saw it like a couple of days ago when I was on the website. So it must be a very new thing, but I'm pretty sure that's coming back. Trading gave me a few loose screws. Cool. So I just have to wait then. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll double check. I'll ask the team. Um, I'll just message them now. Bear with me 2 seconds. Have we stopped offering rhythmic? Oops. Damn. There we go. Right, I've just asked them. Hopefully I get an answer soon. But yeah, back to the charts. Oh, we did have a bit of a pullback, but nothing too great at the moment. Nothing too great at the moment. Be patient. But yeah, there was only one really, really nice trade, and that was that long there. That was clear as day. I caught that on the cash, this long right here. I did get a little short here, but I got out. I call it like a scratch trade. You know, the trades where you're basically in, but you get out pretty much a break even. It just didn't really. It was this. I think this candle here spooked me as we were going down. And I was like, get out quickly. But then this is this is beautiful. Again, you know, footprint wise, this is almost exactly what you want to see. Big volume being trapped at the bottom, can't push it down, and then we trade above it, and big volume that's effective on the opposite side coming in. Like, screenshot that right there. That is what you want to see on the footprint. You know, this, it's rare that it looks that clean. Such a beautiful, beautiful layout here. And obviously, for a short position, it'll be just the opposite. Flip it around. Like, I don't know if you can kind of see it a little bit here. Again, bigger volume at the bottom, but it just wasn't as clear. And then as we get below them, they just weren't that effective, the sellers. You know, they came in, but they just, you know, there was a lot of pushback from the buyers, so it was a bit choppy. But this is superb right here. Absolutely superb. That's the kind of, you know, prime example you want to, you know, see. Absolute perfection. We're not really seeing much. Again, kind of a little bit there, but lately the buyers have been so aggressive. So aggressive. It's been ridiculous, these buyers. And if you look in the daily, we're still kind of being squeezed in that kind of little range. We're kind of breaking out of it a little bit now, but it's not really a true break on the daily. You know, we're just slightly kind of above that high, but realistically speaking, it's not really a confirmed proper break, is it? So we're very much, you know, price has just been squeezed into this kind of point, and everything's building up and going really erratic, and then we just get a pop. Hopefully soon, because you know, it's been ages. Like, the whole of January has sucked, I would say. The whole of, oh shit, I got someone at my door. Give me 2 seconds, everyone. I literally have a delivery at my door. I'll be back literally 2 seconds. All right, don't go anywhere. I just need to go to the postman. I'm back. Bad timing from this postman. But yeah, I got this. So the streams are going to be a lot better moving forward, because I know it's 720p now, but that's because this camera, when you do it via USB, it, what do you call it? It maxes out at 720p. But I bought this capture card. So apparently this will enable me to go up to like 4K. I haven't tested it. I'm going to try it out. Hopefully it works. So tomorrow we'll have a high quality stream. I'm out of breath already. Running up the stairs. I need to get myself to the gym. Jeez. I won't open it now. There's no point. But this should up the stream quality. So hopefully tomorrow we get a better stream, because I understand the quality is not great at 720p. We're living in a caveman days here. Are you looking at those -2, 300 absorbed only? Yeah. So were you talking? Sorry, were we talking about this area here? The area I was like, oh, this is really nice. So the idea is, sellers came in quite aggressively. Let me just get a pen loaded up real quick, because I can give me 2 seconds. There's this app called Epic Pen. I can like draw on the screen, and it just makes it a lot easier to kind of point out. It's just loading up. Come on. Let's move it there. All right, cool. So yeah. So obviously sellers came in quite heavy, especially, around this area here. It's really thick. Let me just make it a bit. There we go. All right, cool. So yeah, loads of sellers came in really heavy. Now, naturally, obviously, this is like 500 over 500 contracts, right? Delta, that means additional sellers, right? And it just didn't go down, refused to go down, didn't really push down. And normally 500 contracts should push the market down. So what's happened is that in the order book at this level, right, somewhere in the order book, all these passive orders, so these are limit orders essentially, right? There was obviously a buyer sitting here that just absorbed all those aggressive sellers, right? Everyone hitting sell, the actual sell button, appears here, right? And anyone hitting the buy button also appears here. Okay, so this only shows aggressive orders. But someone in the order book between these levels here were just absorbing the other, that sell pressure, right? And they were building up a buy order. So that's what institutions do essentially. They always trade passively, right? Because if an institution enters, say they want to buy 500 contracts, they can buy at any point, right? They can just hit buy and the market will, execute their order. But if they hit like 500 contracts here, say they want to get in here at 500, in the order book, there might not be 500, there's 14 available here, 10 available, 18 on all these different price levels. There's not 500 on one price level. Does that make sense? So what would happen is the market will shoot up and they've paid, each contract will have a different price. So overall, their average price would probably be up here then rather than down here, which is not good for them. Do you know what I mean? They've entered at a bad price. They've basically gapped the market before they've executed their order or their full order. So they enter passively, just, they sit here, they let sellers come in, and sellers come in, and they transact. They take out another, 100 orders, another 100 contracts, another 100, and it just doesn't go any lower. So price doesn't move, but someone is absorbing all of it. Now, once they've completed their order, this institution, once they've, executed all their, filled their whole 500 contract buy order, whatever it might be, they then enter a bit aggressively to get that market in their favor. Then that's how they manipulate the price. And they start entering aggressively. They buy, a few hundred, whatever it might be, aggressively on the buy as market orders. And that gets the market, boom, 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 going up. And then other people see it and people start buying. And that should cause like a kind of snowball effect where the market starts pumping up, right? And that's essentially all they're doing. Okay. So they're entering passively, to build up an order. And then once their order's filled and they're happy and they've now, entered 500 contracts at, roughly 25,925, they start entering aggressively, get that market pumping up. And then they get out whenever, whenever they see fit, right? I mean, that's maybe, they're targeting, maybe 2,600, or maybe they're getting out already. Who knows, right? But either way, that's how they manipulate price. Now, that's essentially what they do. But obviously, you've got to remember, it doesn't always work out in their favor. Institutions are wrong so many times. Like this institution, for example, may have wanted to push the price up, right? Because they've got in, they've now got a big order in the market. Now they want to aggressively get that market going up in their favor. But there might be another institution who wants to sell, right? So there might be another institution right here who wants to sell a bunch of, who wants to get into a sell position. So this institution now has to battle with another one. And, if the seller is stronger and is willing, just essentially is willing to add more size, they're going to, it's going to fail and go down again. And then this institution has to get the hell out the market. They've made a loss. All right, fine. So it is really a battle among all the big players. They're just fighting each other left, right, and center. That's what essentially happened here. You can see there was a seller in the market. Forget the pen again. There was a big seller, probably not quite down here, but there was a bigger seller, in this area here. And they're spread over, a sort of price range. They're not just in one price level, because that would be a bit too obvious. But they spread out their orders. Loads of buyers, transacting, and then it just fails to go up higher, especially this. So this was a seller here, an iceberg order, passively, somewhere in the book here, it could be, I don't know, wherever. And they try to come in aggressively to get that market down. You can literally see it. They're trying to push that market down. And, they kind of managed, but eventually they weren't strong enough to keep it going. And then it kind of battled out between more institutions, and it just failed. It just didn't work out. And then probably they tried again, but buyers took over. So it's always a fight between institutions. Retail money is just not even visible. Truth be told, like, we're so small, we're not even visible. Like 500 contracts is I can't even work out the position size, but it's hundreds of millions. It's a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? Unless you're Elon Musk or something, you as an individual won't even be noticed in the market. You're just invisible, essentially, and no one cares about the small numbers, right? If we break down, do it to like 1 point a level, like all these tiny little contracts, and this is delta still. So if I do buy and sell, so you actually see the real volume, right? These, like, all the tiny sort of trade, they're just, you're just lost in a sea. You as an individual will never be noticed. It's only the big numbers that people take notice of, because, again, it makes sense, right? I mean, who cares if there's small participants in the market? They don't really move the market. You might move it a tick, if you enter, a buy position once the order book, if you look at the best available price, sometimes it goes to 1. If you enter a buy, technically you will tick the market up one tick, but that's it. That's literally it. 1 tick you can move the market. It's just not enough. Oh, not total. Let's go to delta. So again, yeah, there's a big battle here, institutional battle. And that's why you get ranges as well. You get these ranges because they're just fighting it out, and no one wants to give up. In these type of spots, do you get in after you see the negative 500 delta or after you see the aggressive buyers? So the way I do it, and it really depends on your kind of risk tolerance, but the way I do it, if I just up it again to 20, you can see a bit, the way I do it is I enter like one contract, like I break my position up into smaller bits, right? So say my overall risk tolerance is, I'll never enter more than 4 contracts, for example, right? Then I would enter like one contract the moment I see sellers are failing to push this down, right? And once, buyers come in aggressively, I'll enter maybe another contract. And if they're effective, I'll enter another 2. So, to really kind of pile on my position. So therefore, I average out at a better price. I might average, because if I entered one here, another one here, and then probably another 2 here, I've probably averaged here. Whereas if I just entered all of it here, I get a bit of a worse price. And it's also the biggest risk is when, like, here's the biggest risk, right? Because they could fail a little bit, but they could just blow through that iceberg and push the market down. So I have a tight stop. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I've only, risked one contract. It's not the end of the world. But if I'm right, then I'm right with larger amounts. Do you see what I mean? So it's good practice to kind of break your order up. It's just a form of risk management, essentially. It's not even, it's literally just risk management. You want to get the best price at any available time. And the way you do that is break it up. You don't want to put all your risk here, because if you get stopped out, oops, that happened. Yeah, if you get stopped out, obviously, you're losing a hell of a lot more of your stops there, and you put all your risk here. Whereas if you break it up into a quarter, all right, fine, you only lost a quarter on a tight stop, not a big deal. So you can be wrong like 4 or 5 times in a row and it doesn't really hurt. But then when you're right the one time and you're right a lot, you like properly, you've piled on the positions and you're right, you make back, 3-4 fold of your overall loss. And that is, but sometimes you just got to wait. This is the sad part, especially lately. You just have to wait because it sucks, man. This market really, really sucks right now. It really, really sucks. This is not a nice market to trade. Occasionally you see like a glimpse of beauty in the footprint, but the last week and a half has been crap. Really hasn't been nice. And that's just indecision as well. There's too many institutions disagreeing with each other, too many big players disagreeing. A lot of them think it's going to go down. A lot of people think want it to go up, and they're just fighting each other constantly, and they're squeezing themselves into this tiny little area on the daily. You can kind of see it, occurring like, we're squeezed into this little point. Yes, we've had a breakout today, or even technically Friday. But is it a real breakout, or people are going to start selling heavily again and push this back down? Because we had that a few days ago, again, a bit of a breakout, and then it just pushed it back down. So we're not truly out of that area yet. But once we're really out, like really, really out of it, the market should be fun to trade again. We just got a hell of a lot of chop, and that's sadly it. Look at the hourly. Gotcha. All right, let's go to the hourly. Let me just remove these drawings slightly. Thanks a lot for sharing your thoughts. It seems a lot of traders kind of gatekeep their knowledge. Nice to see someone change. Yeah, you're more than welcome, Drive. You're more than welcome. Top of the range, look at the hourly. Yeah, we're bang at the top. So this is obviously going to be, you're going to get chop here, because we are essentially range bound, and naturally you're going to get even more chop, because you know what's going to happen. It's not just new sellers coming in. It's going to be a lot of buyers who bought earlier on, either earlier on in the day, who are currently in good positions, up in profit. They're going to want to start unloading their orders. They're not going to want to hold this trade forever. They recognize, look, we're at the top of the range. It's a good chance, it's going to reverse again. So let's start unloading our buy positions. So you just get this kind of nothingness. And there's going to be a lot of people trying to play the breakout as well. So there's so many different ways to look at it. You've got people exiting the market. You've got people entering again on both sides. And yeah. And if it needs liquidity, if the market is, if someone places a big order and needs liquidity, you'll find it most likely at the top of the range. And you get these, you just get these kind of rotations. I thought hopefully at this time the market would have woken up a bit, but we're still in a dead market. We had a little bit of movement when I was off doing the interview, but that was it, man. A little bit of movement, and that was it. And now we're back into a range-bound market. Oh, I'm at 21. What am I doing? Let's go back to 16. That looks better. And you can just kind of see, like I'm looking at a different platform here. The only reason sometimes I stare at this one is it allows the footprint to have double-sided, so I can see, the actual bid and ask as well. Just to double check that there is actual volume behind moves as well, but essentially you don't really need it that much. Yeah, we're still ranging. I wanted it to wake up. I really did. I wanted some action. But we just don't have it. But I tell you what, I think CPI, let me check the calendar real quick. Where is the calendar? Here it is. Let me just go to the financial calendar. Yeah, we've got CPI tomorrow. I hope CPI just does something. I mean, it's rare CPI doesn't move the market. I don't think I've ever seen the market calm during CPI. So CPI should do something. Should wake it up, get us out of this area at least. Once we're out of this area, people are going to have to accept, okay, we're out of it now. Whether we break above, break below, it doesn't really matter. But as long as we're out of that area, then the sellers are either going to give up and say, look, yeah, it's not going down. The buyers are either going to give up and say it's not going to go up. And we get a bit of natural movement. We actually get some kind of real movement in the market. Where do you buy the footprint data? So for TradingView, literally, if you go to tradingview.com, scroll right to the bottom, right to the bottom where all the links are, you'll see CME futures. It will say something like that. That's where you can get it. I'll load it up and show you real quick. So scroll right to the bottom. Jesus, come on. There we go. Under special offers, CME Group Futures, click on that. And that's how you get the data. And then you can subscribe to it. And then obviously you get the real volume data from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, which is the only exchange for these products, NQ, ES, all that. But yeah, so otherwise you're using tick data, and I would say tick data is better than no data. I wouldn't really make trading decisions just based on tick data, because you truly don't know. The volume profile, however, You can use the tick data volume profile. That's absolutely fine. And the reason for that is because it's not actually, don't look at it as volume. I know it says volume profile in the name, and it does measure volume, don't get me wrong, but really actually measures time. Don't tend to see you online at this time after 6 p.m. You will see moved now, I reckon, if there are any left. Yeah, ish. I was on earlier at the open. But again, we had a lot of chop. There wasn't really anything, and then I had to do this an interview for Ola Prime, and I thought I told everyone I'll come back again. Hopefully, the market will have picked a bit of direction, and we can actually get some trades going. But it's just been, yeah, it hasn't been great. So that's why I'm on. But going back to the volume profile, don't look at the volume profile. The reason I don't use like the delta and the volume profile, or even care about the buy and sell data, like buy and sell split, is because what it's actually really showing is more time than anything else. The only reason there's low volume here, right? This low volume here, is because the market didn't spend much time in that area, right? So if we just get rid of this and highlight that low volume node, if you actually look at where it is, market didn't spend any time. It just gapped right through, right? So that's why it's low volume. It's only low volume because it wasn't there for a long period of time. All the high volume areas, so like the point of control, sorry, which is up here, is where the market spent a lot of time, right? So let me actually just delete one of them because you see it better. So here's the point of control, high volume. You can see that's where it consolidated to move sideways. So of course, lots of volume built up there, and again, that's where all the volume is. All this low volume is just because it shot up very quickly. Okay, Drive, no problem. He's gonna head out. Thanks again for the session. See you tomorrow. Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow again. New York Open. So I'll see you there, Drive. Thanks for tuning in as well. So really, yeah, look at the volume profile more as a time. I mean, it's basically that's what the market profile is, right? Time price opportunity, TPO charts. I think you can even see the TPO charts on TradingView. Yes, you can. Right? It will pretty much mimic the volume profile. And you can kind of see it's mimicking almost perfectly the bars. Because it, again, just measures time, right? So whether you use TPO, or market profile, or volume profile, it's essentially the exact same thing. And it's the time spent in an area that gives you insight into the market, right? Because if the market didn't spend a lot of time in an area, that means it gapped through. There was a lot of orders. So really, a low volume node is actually high volume. You got to flip it in your mind if you actually think about it logically, right? Like this is low volume. This whole area is low volume. I guarantee you, there was actually quite a lot of volume in this area, because that's why it jumped up so quickly. Like this whole chunk here, this whole low volume zone. If we look at the footprint and compare it, there's going to be probably quite a bit of volume there. And absolutely, if you look at the normal volume, 20, 30, 50, but then look at this, 300, 160, 260, big numbers, right? And because they moved very quickly. So low volume is essentially high volume, if you actually think about it. The only reason it shows up low volume in the volume profiles because it didn't spend a lot of time there. So that's why low volume nodes for me are kind of what I look for as areas of support, resistance, potential areas. Again, there's a low volume node. That's why I drew it out, and I'm looking for how price reacts in that area, and that's why I got that one trade in, where it was just perfect. Again, you saw the seller's trap, buyers came in, managed to catch it. But apart from that, we're not really in any other area. This is all just garbage. I mean, it's just a range. You could technically, buy at the bottom, sell at the top if you're into range trading. It's a completely valid strategy. But then when it comes to a range, what I like to do to kind of gauge where it most likely will go to, or break out to is I look at the cumulative volume in the range, right? So if we look at the start of the range here, this is pretty much where the range started. We were at plus 2,260 contracts. And if we fast forward into, where we roughly are now in the range, we're at 2,630 contracts. So we have basically increased 400 extra buy contracts entered in this little range here. So there were 400, it's not a huge amount, but an additional 400 buyers came in, but we only moved sideways. So the likelihood is, although it's only 400, it's not a huge amount, but if it was like, 2,000, for example, then there's a strong probability the buyers aren't pushing this up any higher and the sellers are going to take over because the sellers are just more efficient, right? They're getting absorbed less. They're able to push the price in their direction with less volume needed. And that's essentially what you want in the market, right? So just based on that, even though it's only 400 contracts, which is not a lot, I would side a little more with the sellers, but it's not enough to kind of warrant a trade, in my opinion, because it's too little amount of numbers. 400 can be kind of written off as like, it's still pretty balanced. It's not that many contracts. But there were, we did peak up to 3,000 actually around this area here, to be fair. So we went from 2 to 3,000, so 800 contracts. And it's only really been 400 on this little move down where a few bigger sellers came in. So that's quite interesting. So I would have a line here now. If we squeeze and kind of, stay within this little smaller range, I would actually be willing to short. If we kind of drift up a little bit and the sellers start becoming a bit effective and a bit of volume comes in and push it down, I would enter a short. Because if I'm wrong, my stop can be really tight. My stop can literally be just above this area here. And, my TP, I mean, I could definitely target back down to this low volume node, back down to these lows. So there's a good kind of what I would say is a decent risk reward trade potentially lined up. But I wouldn't want to chase it yet. I mean, there can be a chance we just start flooding down. You're seeing a bit of bigger sellers coming in. So the move might happen now, but then my risk would have to be, it's almost 1-to-1, actually under 1-to-1 if I got in now. So it's just not worth it. Do you see what I mean? Not worth it. So let's see what happens. There could actually be a trade here. Could potentially be one. If we drift up a bit and fail, I'm just going to load up potentially. May take this on my cash. But I'm already up on my cash, so I don't really want to. Unless it's really good. All right. We're kind of drifting up. Let's see what happens here. I'm just going to get rid of this little drawing because it's distracting me a little bit. Let's see if the buyers fail. Come on, give me a bit more. Let me make this a bit smaller. I can see the clusters a bit better. There we go. Bit of an easier view. Just draw this out. I'll load up my cash just in case. How many points are we looking? I just need to measure. If I get in like here, 11. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. I can do 5 contracts. That's fine. That's good. All right, cool. Fingers crossed. Come on, don't do it now. Just go up a little bit more. Come on. Don't do me dirty, NQ. I swear to God, if it just drops now, I'm going to be pissed. I'm like, You're an absolute. It hates me. Cherry, good to see you. Good to see you, Cherry. Come on, NQ. Just do that. All you need to do. Come on. Come on. Don't drop yet. Not yet. Oh, come on. I think the moves didn't really get it. That's annoying, man. Yeah. Didn't get the pullback I wanted. I hate this market, man. I absolutely hate the last few days. I hate the way it's been moving. It's just all it had to do was go a little bit higher, and then drop. No, of course. Just why not? Why no pullback? Of course. Every other day, NQ will give you a nice pullback, a nice entry. No, lately doesn't want to do it. But this could be a false breakout, to be fair, and we can go back to the top of the range and then make its move. That could happen, but it looks like these sellers are defending quite well. We'll see. I mean, if anything, I'll quite like it if we drifted up and then, give me a false breakout, go back up. I can get an entry. Market makers are watching you. Can you imagine? They're watching the live stream. Oh, look, he wants to enter short. Let's just do it. Dropping here to say hi, Sammy. Got to go off and be back later. Hoping you'll still be on. TM Cloud, unlikely I'll be on later. The market's just dead, to be honest. Oh, we might get a pullback here, but I am back tomorrow. NY Open. So hopefully I'll catch you there. That'll be awesome. Imagine the market makers. All right, this could be it. So we've got a little bit of a trap there. Sellers playing the breakout, which is good. Yeah, broke out the range. They piled on a bit too much position. Can we now get them squeezed out, and then we get the move down? Now, if these buyers start becoming inefficient, let me just move this. We could have potentially a trade. A lot of buyers coming in at the bottom of the range. This might not be. Come on, come on. A bit more of a pullback. All right, I'll join again tomorrow for sure. Awesome. I'll see you there, TM Cloud. But thank you for tuning in. Let me just load up this. So I've got. Sorry, if my screen switches a bit, it's just me switching different softwares, loading up potential entry on a cash account, but not guaranteed. Really depends. They ain't breaking that level till tomorrow, I don't reckon. Yeah, but you never know. You never know. I mean, today is a dead day in terms of news, and there's nothing really moving the market. But yeah, I think tomorrow is really it's going to open up. I mean, CPI has to freaking open this market up. We've been locked in this very, very small daily range. It's about time it wakes up. It's about time we get some extension. I don't care at this point. Up, down, freaking go left and right. I do not care. Just move. I don't care if it goes this way and into my face. I don't care. Just move, God damn it. We want some opportunity. Some good opportunity. Because it's all well and good catching small scalps here and there, but I want to catch a real leg, a real move. We haven't had it this year properly. At least nothing crystal clear. We've kind of just had this choppy upward movement, and then we had these explosive moves, which, just chaos, essentially. You don't want to chase explosive, chaotic moves. All right. Any bit of news opens up the market. There's NAFA all out today. Reckon people be taking their profits and done for the day. But 6 p.m. onwards will be your answer. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I thought you could just kind of tell it's died off. But I'll stay on for a little bit longer. I'll see if this trade can potentially play out, because we're kind of in the top of what I would say is where the sellers really kind of entered to try and defend. This could be the area where I want to short, but if we break out and I don't see any clear kind of, on the footprint, any clear kind of, buyers getting absorbed, something, because I don't want to just blindlessly enter based on structure. I want to see some level of confirmation here. At the moment, I mean, we're looking at like 20 contracts, 12 contracts. This is baby numbers. This is nothing spectacular at the moment. Come on. Come on. Come on. I don't drop yet. Don't drop yet. Not yet. That's it. Good, good, good. Good. Don't drop yet. That's it. They've tapped that price above 3 times now. It needs a proper catalyst to bust through, I reckon. Yeah. It really does. It really does. CPI. Everyone's waiting for CPI. That's all I can imagine. The whole world is anticipating CPI right now. They can't wait. Okay, we're getting a bit of absorption, but it's like 12 contracts. It's just, like I said, rookie numbers. This means nothing. These the book is either extremely thin, but it doesn't even look that thin, to be fair. We've got a few bigger numbers here, which is no real aggression. This is all baby numbers. Now a bit of a tiny bit bigger numbers. We had 60 contracts come in. Still relatively, I mean, next to nothing. 19, kind of gone back to 2. So there was a bit of absorption here, bit of sell pressure coming in at 42. This might be 51. I can have now a stop potentially. I just want to see a little bit more. Come on. Because it's still low numbers. The buyers could very easily drop 100 contracts and blow up. So it's still risky. I want to see true kind of absorption. But I got my finger on sell just in case. Dip my toe in. If that aggression comes in, I can enter heavier. Come on. Just give me something bigger. It feels slow motion. Doc Tanny, good to see you. How's the trading going today? Slow. The market feels like it's slow, in slow motion right now. It feels like, yeah, it's just super slow, man. Like the volume is dead. It's a boring day, very boring day. But again, it's a Monday, no news. It's, everyone is anticipating CPI tomorrow. CPI is obviously the big one. No one wants to put too much volume into this market right now, at least not this late in the day. And yeah, it is what it is. Not every trading day is exciting, sadly. This is the numbers are too small, man. While technically there is a bit of absorption happening, it's that this isn't enough. Okay, 7,400. All right, we've got a bit of aggression coming in now. Let's see if they're effective. They need to be effective. They're very ineffective at the moment. They actually went the opposite way once they entered, which is what you don't want to see. You want to see it continue going down. You don't want to see it going up when there's a lot of sellers. That is definitely not what you want to see if you want to sell. Yeah, the sellers they just lost it. And then the buy contracts come in. Yeah, it was a false breakout. I don't think it's That little dip was a false breakout, and potentially we're going up, but let's see if these buyers are effective, because it's still not, you know, there's still room for the sellers to potentially take over here. Buyers are trapped at the top, but we have now absorption at the bottom here and absorption at the top here. Now they're trapped between these two areas. We've got sellers at the top, buyers at the bottom. Sorry, vice versa. Buyers at the top, sellers at the bottom, both trapped. Someone's got to lose. Who will it be? That is the question. Come on. Just want to see how big this move is. It's only 10 points, next to nothing. Come on. I feel like the buyers are going to take this, to be honest. I'm not basing that really on any kind of like anything I've seen. I feel like sellers just aren't angry enough. And every time they try to push it down, you saw instantly, boom, their contracts just get absorbed. Like, these buyers probably aren't that nervous at the moment. They might be a bit, all right, look, sell aggression coming in. Do we get follow through? Zero follow through at the moment. 100 contracts. They're just not pushing it down. I'm about to throw my monitor out the window if it doesn't move. You and me both, man. Oh, okay, finally we're getting a bit of follow through. Let me just see the structure real quick. At the top of the range, there's no real... It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. If these sellers defend, I want to see buyers properly trapped and get absorbed. We haven't really had that yet. A bit of defense from the sellers. Come on, speed up. I need a bit of speed. All right, there's a bit of buy absorption. I'm sorry, buyers getting absorbed. I can have a super tight stop. See, the buyers just jump in right again. Just waiting a little bit. They keep reloading. This is the critical moment. Come on. Sellers need to come in now and defend, but they're not. They're refusing to do it. Come on, defend, sellers. 100. Okay. Now I want to see this 100 drop to like 20. Like a big drop. We're only 89, 93. They're absorbing a few contracts, but not enough. And they cleared it. So you want to see it in real time. You know, if for example, all right, look, we're at 89 back to 100. I want to see this 100 go to like even negative or down to like 20, like a big chunk in one go. That's one person, one entity absorbing a lot of pressure, not just a bunch of loads of small orders, because loads of small orders getting, you know, collectively absorbing doesn't really move the market. It takes the market up and down, but it doesn't truly move the market. You want to see like a big chunk in one go. Big chunk. Come on. It's not difficult. Come on. It's not difficult. But this is slow as hell. This is such a dead market, man. I mean, we're literally 10 points stuck in a 12-point range. Like, it's just... Come on. We get a bit of size occasionally, but it's not great. It's not great. Come on. And to be fair, I think that 102 that came in, I don't think they were fresh buyers. I think it was actually these sellers here getting out, clicking cancel, clicking flatten. A lot of sellers from this area here who came in aggressively, and as it came back to the entry, they getting out, and that appears as a buy. As a big player keeping it near all-time highs, yeah. There is indeed. Love from Pakistan. Good to see you, Munib. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. We just switch to this. I can see what I'm doing here. I can see the chat. Beautiful. I have to lower it to 8 ticks now. I haven't done 8 ticks in a long time for each cluster. Normally with NQ, I'm doing 24 ticks a cluster to kind of get a nice, view. I'm down to 8 ticks. That's how little this market's moving right now. I'm just at the top. Yeah, I can get rid of this whole little range play here. Oh, this is frustrating, man. Just do something. Oh, tiny bit. I think it was at 15. It went down to 36. Again, like 15 contracts or whatever. Not a lot. Not a lot of absorption. All right, let's look at the cumulative. We were at 2.6. We're at 2.5 now. That means more sellers have entered, but only 100 contracts extra on the sell side. It's next to nothing. Doesn't really mean much, and we've gone sideways, meaning technically buyers are a little more efficient than sellers. But again, it's next to nothing. It's not. It's only 100 contracts. It really isn't much. Thanks for pronouncing my name. Oh, did I pronounce it correctly? Oh, that's good. Normally, I'm terrible at pronouncing names. Don't know why. But if I pronounced it correctly, I'm proud of myself. I did all right. I'm just going to see if there's any other kind of area, something I don't know, apart from obviously this obvious high. I want to do a volume profile from, let's do it from here to here. We've only got one little gap in volume down here, but I think that was ages ago. We've passed that already. Yeah, that's been blown through so many times. That's long over. Yeah, we got nothing in the horizon. If we keep going up, we can go to all-time highs at some point. Obviously not today, but there's nothing really that much further up. The market's decided to have a nap and do nothing. I think price is going to take out Friday's New York high. Let's take out. So the New York high would have been, what time is it? Yeah, it could very well. I mean, we're so close to it. I think that's what all the buyers are itching for. Everyone's kind of itching for that. There's probably a lot of, limit orders, take profits at the top there. So 985, if I go to the order book and look at 985, can't quite see it. I don't have to full. Oh no, I can see it. Where's 985? Stop moving. 985. It's like, it keeps moving. There's only this Project X thing is shit. Yeah, you see 113 contracts at 9 around the high, 980. Yeah, so there's a lot of take profits at the top there. Obviously looking to get filled. Bro, how do you get your chart like that? Really simple. So in fact, there's a video on my channel where I show it. It's the easiest way to see it. So let me just pull this up for you real quick, and I'll walk you through it. All right. So if you go to my channel, there is this video here: how to set up footprint charts on TradingView, full guide and tutorial. That will show you how to get it. Essentially, what you need is obviously a premium version of TradingView. You got to upgrade to the premium. And then once you've upgraded, you get access to the volume footprint. Okay, that's this type of chart. But then you also need to get the CME data subscription, which I'll show you in that video. It's like £7 or $10 a month, very cheap. And that will give you the data from the CME exchange. So all these numbers that you're seeing, the actual contracts come from this exchange here. And then, that's it. But then again, you can only use it on CME products, right? So wherever it says CME, so like the ES, the S&P 500 CME, NQ, it's obviously Nasdaq, YM is the Dow. It says CBOT, but it is also part of that. You can even use anything on COMEX as well. So like gold, which is GC, I think that's on COMEX. Yep. So it includes quite a few different data packages. So it's all part of like one group essentially. But you can't use it on like Forex stuff. Like, so if you're using, trying to use it on like Euro US dollar, it's not going to work. I don't know if the footprint works on Euro US dollar, but I don't know if. Let me check. I've never tried. Euro USD. Oh, okay, it does. But bear in mind, this is not real data. All right, this is just tick data. This is not real. What you're seeing is not contracts traded because there is no central exchange. This is then literally just ticks. So use it at your own risk on Forex products. Whereas what you're seeing here is actual, contracts in the book being traded. Could you please recommend any good legit prop firm? Well, I have to recommend Ola Prime. I mean, but full disclosure, I do work for them. So, I'm literally employed by Ola Prime. So of course, Ola Prime is what I would recommend. But we are a good prop firm. We are genuinely a very good prop firm. So feel free to check us out, olaprime.com. I can give me 2 seconds. So here's Ola Prime. You can do Forex, futures. We have both. Have a look. Obviously, there's my face. I do work for them. I am employed, so that is, full disclosure. But yeah, check us out, olaprime.com. I think you'll like us. Can you give a quick rundown on what the higher and lower numbers mean? Sure. So let me just load this up. Okay. So what you're seeing here, Caden? Yeah, Caden. This is the delta footprint. Okay. So the delta is just the difference between the buyers and sellers. So if I go to the settings and change it to buy and sell, I can actually see, here there were 10 contracts sold, 0 contracts bought. right, aggressively, right? That's anyone hitting buy and sell buttons. Only shows up here, all right? So obviously the difference is -10. That's the delta, right? So I have it set at the delta, and you can see -10. So that's essentially all it's showing, right? The difference between the buy contracts sold, buy contracts bought, and contracts sold. Now, what you want to, the way you use it is unfortunately not as easy as just buying if you see big heavy volume and selling if you see big sellers. That's unfortunately not how it works. What you have to look at things like absorption, because there's two ways you can enter the market, right? So you got the order book, which is on the side here. These are limit orders. So if I place, a limit order, I don't get actually executed right away. Like my it's only when it gets there, then it matches me up with someone aggressively who hits the buy. So if I set like a sell limit in the order book, if it gets there, my God, look at all this volume coming in. Then it matches my order with someone, aggressively, right? Well, the market's just woken up. Jesus. All right. We've also just taken out that high. We've just hit it. So it did happen. But anyway, back to what I was explaining. So what you got to remember is here you're only seeing aggressive orders, right? You're not seeing passive orders. And the passive orders are basically what keeps the market from going higher or lower, would be from the order book. So go back to this example here. Where was it? Here it is. So if I go back to this example, you can see lots of sell contracts came into the market, right? But they didn't push the market down. And the reason they didn't push it down is because there was a big buyer in this area, somewhere, around here somewhere, on multiple levels, absorbing all those aggressive sellers, right? So loads of people were hitting sell, 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 but it wasn't going any lower, meaning there was a buyer there in the order book, basically feeding a big buy order. And once that order was filled and completely filled, those buyers, whoever that buyer was, some big institution, would enter then aggressively. So they'll start hitting the buy button now, get the market going up in their favor, right? And the reason they do it passively like that is just simply because you get a better price. Because let me just get the tool out here. If someone wanted to place 500 buy orders here, and if you look in the book, there really isn't 500 available on one price level. What's going to happen is that the price is going to shoot up, right? And there, maybe 100 or maybe 50 contracts were at 25.927. Maybe another 50 were executed at 928. 100 was executed at 930, whatever. So they get overall, once their whole 500 orders are filled, their average entry price would average out to probably be about here, which isn't as good as if they wanted to enter here, right? It's a worse price. So they fill their orders passively because it doesn't move the price that way. But then the way you see that is you see a lot of volume on one side of the market and it doesn't go their way. And that's when you got to look and say, aha, something's not right here, right? Loads of sellers are in the market, but it's not pushing down. That means there's a big buyer sitting right here. And if that buyer obviously at some point wants to get the market up, so once I see that buyer enter aggressively, like we saw here, that's my cue to join them, and hopefully they're strong enough to get this market going up higher. All right. So I have a video that fully explains this in a lot more detail on my channel. I think it's my most recent video, actually. Basically, I fully explained that. This video, yeah, my most recent one, Understand This and Trading Becomes So Much Easier, right? Talks about exactly what I just explained here but in much more detail, and it's obviously a lot smoother to kind of follow because I explain it better. But yeah, so that's well worth a watch. And then that's essentially how institutions manipulate price, how they move the price, how they enter large orders, all that kind of stuff. And then, but once you can, see that and spot it, you can make better decisions. It doesn't mean you're always going to be right. Of course, you're going to be wrong many times as well, because institutions are wrong all the time as well. They're only because they're big players doesn't mean they are correct. They get stopped out. They lose money all the time. But you rather just side yourself with, the bigger players. You don't want to side yourself with against them, essentially, right? But there's institutions fighting each other all the time. So once you're able to read just absorption, that's the first step. But then you can start reading. You get a bit more trained. Your eyes, it's like with anything. The more you look at something, the more you practice it, the more you kind of pick up on it, and then you'll start noticing certain little things. Which institution is going to more likely win, which one seems to be more aggressive, which one has a better chance, which one's more efficient at pushing the market, and then you can make your bets a bit more, get that win rate a bit higher, and just build upon from that, really. So I hope that's a useful explanation. But yeah, well worth having it on your chart. And it doesn't have to be TradingView. You can use, Go Charting. There's another platform that offers order flow tools as well. Actually, a lot more in-depth order flow tools, but a lot of it is stuff you just don't need. A lot of it's just the same kind of shit you would see just through the delta, but a different way of, what's the word? A different way of kind of viewing that data, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. So these buyers in this range, they were slightly more efficient. It wasn't a lot. Like I said, we started at 2.6 on the cumulative delta. We were at 2.3 at the end of the range. So there was an additional 250 sellers came in this little area. They weren't able to push it down, meaning the buyers were a little bit more efficient at pushing. And even because we were, going sideways, no one was pushing the market anywhere, meaning the buyers were a little bit more efficient and more likely to get this market up. But again, it's small numbers, right? 200, 300. These are not big numbers. So you don't really want to place your bet on small numbers. But that's the best way of